Hi, welcome to today's video. So today's video is basically something that I wanted to actually film back in December, but I never really got around to it. I took a nice big break and it was fun. I had family over, so it was a fun time and I never really got around to filming it. So anyway, Happy New Year and I hope you're having a great start to the year. And yeah, it's kind of funny, but my first video in 2023 is all about products that were quite disappointing, and not really up to the mark, or what do I say, lackluster products that I basically found in 2022. I think most of them were new releases for 2022, so yeah, basically disappointing products that were released in 2022. So let's start with foundation. So the first product is basically, like I said, a foundation, and this is from Maybelline, and this is the Maybelline New York Green Edition Super Drop Tinted Oil. So this is what it looks like. It has a very nice packaging. I like the packaging. It's also a very thin formula. Like they say, it's an oil kind of formula, so you have to kind of shake it before you go ahead and use the product. So it is a dropper style product like this, and yeah, it does get a little bit messy around the rim there, and like I said, you have to shake it each time you want to use it because everything kind of separates a bit, and I think they do say that in the instructions as well. So anyway, the packaging is very nice in terms of how it's a glass bottle for a drugstore product, and it has a dropper style of application and everything. All that is fine. They do also have I believe like 5-6 shades, and it's supposed to be sort of like because it's kind of like a tinted oil sort of a situation, it's supposed to be flexible. Each shade is supposed to be flexible over a range of shades. This particular shade is 040, the one I have, and I think this is the third shade in the range. I think it starts with 010, then I think 030 and 040. I don't know, I never saw 020, so I don't know, maybe now they've added it. But anyway, this one, the color match is okay for me, but the issue that I have with this one is that it kind of progressively starts looking bad on my skin. Now, if I wear this foundation for just like maybe 3 or 4 hours, it's fine. It kind of stays put. It doesn't look cakey or dry on my face. So I do have dry skin. I have to first say that. Yes, I have dry skin. And I think this foundation is probably better for those with combination to oily skin, although it's kind of like a tinted oil foundation. It does have talc in it, so I'm guessing the talc kind of makes it look a little bit more matte and not oily, although it has quite a few oils in there. And yeah, on my dry skin, the first couple of hours, like I was saying, it just looks fine. I mean, it doesn't look super nice either. It's kind of like middle of the road. Yeah, it's okay. It's not like fantastic. And then after like a couple of hours, if you wear it maybe like for 7-8 hours, it starts like it starts looking a little crusty in your skin. So that's my experience with it, and therefore I haven't really been reaching for this all that much. When I first got it, I basically picked it up in the summer. In the summer months, I barely kind of wear makeup for too long, so for the like a couple of hours, for 2 to 3 hours, it's fine. And also yeah, I found that you have to kind of also be careful about the moisturizer you're using with this. I do tend to wait a little bit after moisturizing my face before I go in with this, because sometimes it just doesn't play along with it. It can like not exactly pill, but it looks funny. It sits funny on your skin. It kind of, you can even if you use the teeny tiniest bit, you can kind of tell that it's just sitting on top and it's not really meshing in with your skin. So yeah, I don't know, overall this is like a bit too much work, and yeah, the finish is not that great. It's not super awesome, and I actually haven't tried it out right now when it's pretty dry, and it's winter conditions where I live, so it's cold and dry, and I'm guessing it probably is going to look a little bit worse, because even in the summer, like late summer and going into fall, when I used it last, it was like if I wore it for too long, like I said, it starts looking a little bit like a mask, and it's like cracking, and it just looks crusty. So irrespective of how much I'm using, I basically use like 2 drops, and I think 2 drops is supposed to be like light to medium coverage, and no, it just looks really bad on my skin after a couple of hours. So it's okay for if you want to just use it for a few hours, and it's probably going to be okay if you have oily skin. or even combo skin. But if you have dry skin, I don't know how much this is actually going to work out. So yeah, this is one of those products which just wasn't my cup of tea. Now the next product I'm going to be talking about is a mascara. So for the most of 2022, actually, I barely wore any mascara. I was kind of giving my lashes a break. And yeah, I'm kind of okay because for the most part, um, yeah, I'm kind of indifferent to a lot of mascaras. Essence Lash Princess is one mascara which actually works for my lashes. The rest of the mascaras, yeah, I haven't really found my perfect mascara match. Like even Lash Princess is okay, but it's not like super awesome. It doesn't make me look like I'm wearing falsies or anything. That I've seen so many people talking about how some particular mascaras work for them so well that, you know, it almost looks like they're wearing falsies. That has never happened to me with like all the different types of mascaras I've tried. So I'm yet to try like my one true love kind of a thing. Um, anyway, so this year the only mascara I tried was from Ulta Beauty, and I actually got this as a gift with purchase, so I didn't really buy it. This is the Lash Flash Warm Water Wash Off Mascara. So this is a tubing mascara from Ulta, and I saw a lot of good reviews of this mascara. It does come off easily with warm water like they say, but my main problem with it is that it does give me very spiky, spidery lashes. So in terms of volume, I'm generally pretty happy with my natural volume of my lashes. So what I look for a mascara is something that would basically define it a little bit more and also kind of, you know, hold a curl and look a little bit longer. So volume has never been my concern. But the main problem with this one is, although it does give me length, it kind of makes my lashes clump together and look like I have no lashes. I just have a couple of them, which are like this. So yeah, I first thought, okay, maybe it's because it was wet. It's a pretty wet formula when I initially opened the tube, and I thought, okay, I will use it after a couple of, like maybe a month, and then see how it looks. It's the same story. In fact, I think I opened this mascara back in November. I used it in the end of December. I did use this last week, and it's still pretty much the same. So yeah, so I can now easily conclude that this is basically not the mascara for me. If it works for you, I would say keep using it because I think it's a pretty inexpensive mascara. And for a tubing formula, I think it's pretty nice too, in the sense that it does come off easily. But also another thing I realized by using this mascara is that I don't like the sensation of taking off tubing mascara where, you know, as you wash your face, you've got your eyes shut, so you can't really tell. So when you feel it coming off, it almost feels like your actual lashes are coming off. So it can feel a little bit, I don't know, freaky. So yeah, that's my take on tubing mascaras. I mean, yes, I like the fact that you can take them off easily, but the sensation sometimes kind of makes me feel like, you know, my actual lashes are coming off, which is not a good thing. So anyway, this formula is not working out for me. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed. That's the only mascara I tried that the whole of 2022. So pretty disappointed there. And now let's talk about a lip product. Now this one is from Revlon, and I'm actually very sad to put this here because I love most Revlon products that I've tried. I think I'm going to be doing a video soon where I'm going to be talking about all the Revlon products I've tried. I've really enjoyed most of their stuff, although they're kind of like not so talked about, and they're kind of seen as a, you know, very old school brand and, you know, not really hip or happening. I do think they have a few solid products in their line, especially their lip products are all very nice usually. But this one, this is the Revlon Color Stay Satin Ink Lipstick, and I have this in the shade Regal Ruby. Now, I don't know if it's because of the shade. The formula of this lip product, which is basically like a liquid lipstick, which gives you almost satiny, glossy kind of a look. And it kind of dries down to, you know, like those water stain kind of things that you see in the K-beauty market. So this is what it looks like. This is the shade Regal Ruby. And see, it's got this very nice wet glossy look, and it also is very comfortable on the lips. My problem with this lip product is that as the day goes by, it kind of starts looking very patchy, and it starts like clinging to any dry patches also you might have. And it also, like, it kind of fades in a very uneven fashion, and for such a dark color to do that, it just looks terrible on the lips. So maybe it's the shade, I don't know, maybe a lighter shade I can still pull it off. And like I said, it's a very comfortable formula, so I don't have any issues with the formula as such in terms of, you know, the comfort. But the way it wears off is just not my cup of tea. It just looks really terrible at the end of the day. It literally looks bad. So yeah, so I don't, like I said, I maybe should try another shade. I don't know. um yeah, I don't know. I actually like the idea of it staying kind of semi glossy. um yeah, almost like the Maybelline vinyl lip inks which have come out like the last couple of months of 2022. Pretty similar, just that this one I think is a little bit more thinner and is a little bit more of a watery feel on the lips compared to that one. So yeah, that's probably the difference between them. But yeah, in terms of how it fades and how it feels, I think the Maybelline vinyl ink is better than this one so far. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just the shade that I tried. So let me know if you've tried any other shades of this particular line, and if you know they all do the same thing where they fade in a very patchy fashion. So yeah, so that was my lip flop of the year. Now, in terms of eyeshadow, I didn't really buy any eyeshadow palettes through most of 2022. I picked up a few palettes actually towards the end of the year during Black Friday, and I think in December too, I picked up a palette. But otherwise, oh yeah, I did pick up a few ColourPop palettes in July. But yeah, other than that, not too many palettes. Okay, that is quite a few palettes, but yeah, not that many palettes. So the main thing I was going into in 2022 was mostly eyeshadow sticks and cream shadows. So I did try a couple of them, and one of the eyeshadow sticks that I tried was the LA Girl Sunkissed Glow shadow sticks, which was part of, I think, their summer line. I don't know if they're still available. I'm not 100% sure. These ones, the price was so good. These were like priced less than $5 for each shadow stick. I think around $3 or $4, which I think was a very good price. The only problem is that they're very stiff. They're not a very creamy formula, so they're hard to blend, and you could still make this particular shade work. This one is a shade Suede Fringe. This one you can still make it work because it was, you can easily just use it as a sort of one and done shadow on the lid, so you don't have to worry too much about blending it. I can show you how the shade looks. I actually really like the shade. It's a very beautiful, like peachy bronzy kind of a shade. I don't know, can you see? Or so yeah, that's what that looks like. So this one is still kind of usable, but again, not for a long-term wear, because what I noticed was as the day goes by, this also starts looking a little crusty on the lids. Like it's like so dry that it sort of looks, yeah, your eyelids, it kind of emphasizes, I don't know, the lines or the texture on your eyelids. That's the best way to say it, I think, as the day goes by. When you first apply it, it's okay. But I think because it's generally a drier formula than other shadow sticks that I've tried, I feel like this one sort of does that thing where it just highlights all those lines, those fine lines. In fact, I never even realized I had a few fine lines in certain areas of my lid till I used this. So yeah, so even though this one, the shade is beautiful, yeah, those are some of the problems with that. Now this particular shade, which is Cactus, which is like a nice, beautiful, it swatches very nicely actually. It's like an olive green with some gold in there. Now this one, I actually bought it to sort of use it towards the outer corners of my eye, and unfortunately on the lids, unlike how it swatches here, it kind of swatches very heavily as like almost like a patchy black. That gold shimmer that you can see here, it barely shows on the lid, and it's so dry that it's difficult to kind of blend it. It kind of sets immediately. It's basically like trying to use like a normal crayon on your eyelids. I mean, it was basically that bad. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed. I actually like the shade. In fact, these two shades together might actually look very pretty on the eye, but blending these together would just be impossible with how the formula is. So that's a bummer. So yeah, so these were like my, top regrets in terms of eyeshadow from 2022. Now, in terms of blush, bronzer, highlighter, I did try quite a few face palettes, and I think I was pretty happy with most of them. Yeah, when I look back, I don't think anything was, like super disappointing. This one, however, from Undone Beauty was not my cup of tea. So this one, although it's basically advertised as a 4-in-1 radiance palette, but they call it the Sunset bronzer. As you can see, it's not really much of a bronzer. So when I picked it up, my plan was to basically use these two strips up here as blush and these two as like mixed together as a highlight. Now, as a blush, these two strips together, it looks pretty nice. But again, the shimmer in these two very shimmery strips are extremely chunky and they're big particles of shimmer. So when you put them on your face, you can actually see visible specks of glitter, which I'm not a big fan of. And yeah, overall, I just felt like it just didn't make me feel good when I wore it. So, you know, that kind of matters too. So this generally was not like, yeah, it's not something that I'm like super excited to use when I look at it. I mean, yeah, initially, of course, yes, because it just looks really pretty in the pan. But as you go to actually use it, the shimmer here is like too intense, and too intense in the sense that, you know, it's actually visible specks of glitter. And the, you know, the blush part was also just, I don't know. So yeah, it was just not my favorite palette for the face in general. Overall, I think the product itself, like the price is actually pretty good. I think it was like 10 bucks or something, and you get like 7 grams of product in here. And I'm actually excited to try some more other products from Undone Beauty. I've heard good things about their cream blushes and also their gloss. So these are two things I've heard about. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I just wish it was a little bit better. Fine, slightly more finely milled shimmer would have been awesome. Then it would have been a pretty nice palette, in my opinion. Now, in terms of highlighters, there was another highlighter that again disappointed me, and it's not an individual highlighter. It's from this another face palette. This is the Tarte Clay Play to Go cheek palette. Now, this particular palette, I generally like it. It's as a palette, I really like the blush in here as well as the bronzer. What I have a problem is with this particular highlight. It's a bit chunky. Again, same issue as this one, but this one again is drugstore price, so you know, I'm not going to complain too much. This one is actually a higher end brand, so yeah, I was not too happy about having a chunky glitter, you know, highlighter here. I mean, if it was a very smooth highlighter, this face palette would have been just perfect for travel, in my opinion. Just absolutely gorgeous. I love the blush here. I really like the bronzer in here. So if you are my skin tone, this bronzer is actually pretty good. But if you have extremely pale skin, I think this might pull a little bit too orange on you. So yeah, so that's basically the other highlighter that kind of disappointed me this year. I mean, not this year, in 2022. So yeah, that's it. That's basically what I have to share. And I hope to see you again in another video, and I hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, have a great week. Bye.